Listen, we got to talk about it, man. I've been seeing some disturbing stuff from Minnesota Vikings fans over the last few days, and to me, it's sad. It's sad. I'm not saying every fan base doesn't have these people, but I find it very ironic that after a particular regular season game, it's always during these certain games that things are happening and things are said. So if you haven't heard, we have the worst fan base on the planet. We push pregnant women. We get in women's face. There was a woman that was afraid that she was going to get punched by a man, and I am calling cap on most of that. I am. It's hard to buy that you don't hear anything during a regular season game about any rowdiness to the point from a Detroit Lions fan base, but all of a sudden you hear that we're pushing pregnant women, that we are getting in the face of other women, when I can attest that that happened to me in San Francisco, okay? Now, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying that it won't ever happen. I just find it very strange that you don't hear about this during the regular season. But let's go back to last year. All of a sudden, we're booing Kelly Stafford's kids. Come on, bro. We was booing you. We was booing your husband. That's what we was doing. We was booing your husband. Come on, man. Let's not act like we don't know what this is. They call it fan for a reason. But you don't hear any ruckus really coming from Detroit, the Ford Field. Now, I'm not saying, again, that it did not happen. I just find it very suspicious that this stuff is starting to happen. So you got wives, players coming out of girlfriends and wives that, and listen, violence is not the answer. Any type of assault, that is not a thing, right? It's wrong. But if I am the family member of a rival team, I'm not sitting with regular people. I'm sorry. You're not going to catch Taylor Swift. Never, ever, ever in the regular people section. You're going to have to get her a suite. You're not going to, Brittany Mahomes, you're not going to ever catch her ever in the regular people section. She might be just above the regular people section, but I would feel it was my responsibility to keep them out of harm's way, even though, I'm not saying that it's right. But I find it very ironic. You ain't hear none of this stuff before. But the 2 times we heard that we booing kids and we pushing pregnant women was after massive games. Massive games. It's just weird to me. It's very coincidental. It's ironic. The timing is impeccable. Now, again, I've been part of fan bases, rowdy fan bases, having things thrown on me, being bumped by the opposite sex. So I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but I also believe that it could be blown out of proportion. I think so. Have you ever tried to leave a stadium? Ford Field. I was at Ford Field Sunday night for the Vikings game, week 18. And the stairs are crowded. Can't even get out the row. It's tight seating. You can't get out the row. Could a push have been you trying to get past? Maybe you were pushed by somebody else and you went into this pregnant individual. If that did happen, it's like turning a molehill into a mountain, right? So I don't know if I buy it, but if I am a player and I have a family member, especially a woman, a pregnant woman carrying my child, she's going to be in a bougie section. She's not going to be in a regular people section because regular stuff happens. This is a NFL game with massive drunk people, whether it's the opposing, it could have been a Vikings fan for all we know, right? So I don't know. It's just, to me, it's suspicious and that these things come out. You didn't hear anything outside of the one dude on the field with LaFleur a couple weeks ago, the season ticket holder. You didn't hear anything during the regular season. And now all this stuff is starting to come out about Ford Field. And it's just, to me, and that's the thing about the internet, man, like literally anything can be said. Anything can be said. Stuff can be said about me. Y'all will believe it. So I'm going to tell you what. I was there in my section. Wasn't rowdy. It was some stuff being said. But it was nowhere near violent. I didn't turn, not to say that stuff doesn't happen, because I've seen it. I haven't myself seen it at Ford Field, but I know it happens at every NFL stadium. You put fandom, you put alcohol, you put aggression. I mean, this is a gladiator sport. We have literally dudes hitting each other for a living at full speed. So something is bound to happen, but I'm calling cap, bro. I'm calling cap. And I'm not going to, and even if something did happen, I'm not going to label an entire fan base. they're starting to hate our fan base now. And they're starting to hate our fan base. We're just these evil, aggressive, fans, which, I think all fans have that in them. But I don't know, man. It's just, I'm calling cap on this whole thing. I'm calling cap. And it's any number. There's no video evidence of this happening, as far as I know. And it could have been, who knows? It could have been a Vikings fan. It could have been just trying to get past somebody. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But I just think it's real ironic that these fans are trying to accuse us of doing these things all of a sudden when their team loses. And I wonder if the Vikings, if the Rams would have won, would Kelly Stafford have said anything? If the Minnesota Vikings would have won, and don't forget that they were talking a bunch of junk pregame, and now they lose, and we pushing people, pregnant people, trying to injure people. I don't buy it, bro. I don't buy it. So let me know what you think.